Gykores was fooling us. Never should have signed you. Ian Wright blasts Gykores after Arsenal's disappointing performances. The mood around the Emirates has turned from optimism to exasperation in the space of just a few matches. Only a fortnight ago, many Arsenal fans were speaking excitedly about a season that might bring silverware in redemption. The addition of Victor Gykores, a forward signed with the expectation of injecting goals, physical presence, and a ruthless edge to Arsenal's attacking play, had been hailed as a coup. Supporters envisioned him as the missing piece in Mikel Arteta's carefully crafted puzzle. But football, as ever, is a sport that exposes the difference between potential and performance. Gykores, who arrived with a reputation for both work rate and clinical finishing after his spell at Sporting CP, has so far failed to live up to even modest expectations. His first few matches have yielded more questions than answers, and in the wake of two damaging defeats, a 1-0 Premier League loss to fierce rivals Tottenham Hotspur and a 3-2 friendly setback against Villarreal, the criticism has become impossible to ignore. Among those speaking out is Arsenal legend Ian Wright, who has never been shy about holding players accountable. This week, Wright's words were as cutting as any defensive tackle, aimed squarely at the club's high-profile summer signing. A rocky start that's hard to justify. The North London derby is one of the most emotionally charged fixtures on Arsenal's calendar. Fans expect their team to fight tooth and nail, and every moment is magnified under the glare of rivalry. Yet, when the whistle blew to end Arsenal's clash with Tottenham, there was no fight back to celebrate, only frustration. Tottenham had managed to edge the contest by a solitary goal, and though Arsenal created a fair number of half-chances, their lack of a decisive touch in front of goal was glaring. For Gykores, the match felt like an opportunity to announce himself on the Premier League stage. Instead, he drifted through the game largely unnoticed, making few dangerous runs, struggling to hold the ball up, and failing to link effectively with the midfield. Ian Wright summed up the feelings of many supporters during his post-match analysis. "This is not what we signed up for. Gykores was brought in to be a game-changer, to give us something we've been missing, that edge in the final third. Instead, he's been a liability. We never should have signed him if this is the level we were going to get." Such a public dressing down from a club legend is rare so early in a player's tenure, but Wright's frustration was clearly boiling over. Arsenal, still chasing consistency, had hoped Gykores would be the spearhead of their attack. Instead, he has so far been a muted presence. The Villarreal setback. If the Tottenham loss stung, the follow-up match against Villarreal deepened the wound. Though the game was technically a friendly, the result and the performance mattered to Arteta. Friendlies are testing grounds for systems and partnerships, and they offer a chance for new signings to bed in. Gykores, still without a standout display, needed to seize the moment. Yet once again, the Swedish forward faded into the background. Villarreal, sharp and well organized, took the game to Arsenal, ultimately winning 3-2. While some attacking combinations clicked fleetingly for the Gunners, Gykores' involvement was minimal. For a player brought in to score and create, the absence of either was glaring. Wright, who had been measured in some of his earlier evaluations this season, did not hold back this time. "We had high expectations, but it looks like we've been fooled. This is not the Gykores we thought we were getting. Arsenal needs players who can stand up to pressure, not ones who vanish when it matters." The remark about being fooled resonated with supporters who had been drawn to Gykores' impressive goal record in Portugal. The unspoken question, had Sporting CP's system flattered him, began circulating in fan forums and pundit panels alike. The Manchester United, what if? Adding fuel to the criticism is a subplot that Arsenal fans find hard to ignore. Before agreeing to join the Gunners, Gykores had reportedly been on the radar of Manchester United, now managed by Ruben Amorim, the very coach who brought the best out of him at Sporting CP. The fit seemed logical. Amorim knew how to utilize his strengths, and United were in need of a versatile forward. But Gykores chose Arsenal. At the time, it was seen as a statement, a sign that Arsenal could beat other big clubs to prize targets. Now, with United riding high in the Premier League and Gykores misfiring, the decision looks like a misstep. Fans have been quick to point out that under Amorim's guidance, he might have maintained his sporting form. At Arsenal, however, the adaptation has been anything but smooth. He could have been part of something great at United, but instead he's just another name on our team sheet, one fan lamented in a radio call-in show. He has talent, but right now, you wouldn't know it. Arteta's selection headache. For Mikel Arteta, the Gykores dilemma is becoming a test of leadership and judgment. On one hand, it's natural for a new signing to need time to settle in, particularly one coming from a different league. On the other hand, Arsenal are in the midst of a campaign where every point matters, and patience in football can run out quickly. Does Arteta keep starting him, trusting that form will follow faith? Or does he take him out of the firing line, perhaps protecting him from further criticism while also rewarding informed alternatives? The answer isn't straightforward, especially when squad morale and tactical cohesion are at stake. Wright was blunt in his advice. If Gykores isn't performing, he shouldn't be on the pitch. This club has to demand high standards. We can't carry passengers in big matches. Such comments underline the unforgiving nature of elite football. Reputation and transfer fees mean little if performances don't match. Can Gykores turn it around? The question looming over Gykores' Arsenal career is whether this poor run is simply a rocky introduction or a sign of deeper incompatibility. Some players adapt slowly and then explode into form. Others never quite adjust, their potential never fully realized in a particular environment. The Premier League is more physically demanding than Liga Portugal, and the defensive organization of opponents is often more intense. Gykores may be struggling with both the pace of play and the limited time he gets on the ball. Confidence, too, is a fragile commodity for strikers. One decisive goal can transform a player's fortunes. Equally, a prolonged drought can spiral into self-doubt. At Arsenal's training ground, there are whispers that Gykores is working hard to integrate and learn Arteta's system. That, at least, offers a glimmer of hope. If he can blend his natural physicality with Arsenal's intricate, possession-based style, there is still a chance for redemption. The fans' perspective. Supporters' patience, however, is already thinning. Social media threads, fan podcasts, and post-match phone-ins have been filled with frustration, not only about Gykores but about the team's inability to kill off matches. For many, Gykores has become the focal point of wider concerns about recruitment and tactical balance. Some fans point out that Arsenal's midfield hasn't always provided the kind of service a striker thrives on. Others argue that a forward on a big contract should be able to create moments of magic even without perfect conditions. The divide in opinion is sharp, but the common thread is that results must improve quickly. Looking ahead, the next month will be telling. Arsenal face a mix of league fixtures and cup commitments that will test both depth and resilience. For Gykores, it represents either a lifeline or a slow fade into the periphery of the squad. If he starts finding the net, the narrative could flip almost overnight. Football fans are nothing if not quick to forgive a player who delivers. But if the drought continues, and if Arsenal's results keep faltering, pressure from the stands and media will only grow. For now, Ian Wright's words hang in the air, a warning that the honeymoon period is over, and that every minute on the pitch must now be justified. Arsenal supporters have long memories when it comes to big money signings who fail to make an impact. Conclusion. Victor Gykores arrived in North London with the promise of goals, presence, and dynamism. What Arsenal have seen so far has been a shadow of that promise. Ian Wright's fierce criticism reflects not just personal disappointment but the frustration of a fan base desperate for progress. The path forward is narrow but still open. With the right adjustments, in tactics, mentality, and confidence, Gykores could still write a positive chapter in Arsenal's modern history. But the clock is ticking, and in the unforgiving environment of top-flight football, opportunities to change the narrative are never endless.